If you wake up between 3 a.m. 5 a.m., do these things. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it's not a random event. This is a time when the world is at its most quiet and everything around you has slowed down. Your mind is clear, free from the usual distractions that fill your day. In this moment, there's a voice inside you, faint yet powerful. It's your inner voice, your spirit speaking to you. But most of us are so used to the noise of life, we ignore that voice. We brush it off, turn over, and go back to sleep. But this is the time to listen, truly listen. This voice doesn't shout. It doesn't demand your attention the way the world does. Instead, it whispers gently but persistently. It's that feeling you get when something just doesn't sit right with you, when you know deep down that you're meant for more. It's that nagging thought, the one you push aside during the hustle of the day. But in the stillness of the early morning, when everything is quiet, that voice becomes clearer. It's not a coincidence you're awake at this time, it's an invitation. Listening to your inner voice requires you to silence everything else. It means tuning out the doubts, the fears, and the outside expectations that cloud your mind. It's easy to get caught up in what others think you should be doing or who they think you should be. But your inner voice is different. It knows your deepest desires. It understands your strengths, your passions, and your true potential. And it's telling you that there's more to life than what you're settling for right now. This voice speaks from a place of wisdom. It's not influenced by the chaos of the world. It's not swayed by what society deems successful or important. It's connected to something deeper, your purpose. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., your spirit is trying to guide you toward that purpose. Maybe you've been avoiding it, distracted by the daily grind, by the expectations of others, by fear. But in the silence of the early morning, all of that fades away, leaving you alone with your truth. The challenge is that listening to your inner voice isn't always easy. Sometimes it tells you things you don't want to hear. It may remind you of the dreams you've been putting off, the goals you've abandoned, or the changes you've been afraid to make. It might confront you with the uncomfortable truth that you're not living up to your potential. But remember, this voice isn't here to judge you. It's here to guide you, to steer you back to the path you're meant to walk. And that's why it's so important to listen, even when it's difficult. There's a reason why this voice speaks to you in the quiet hours. During the day, your mind is busy, filled with noise and distractions. But in the early morning, there's space to hear the thoughts and feelings that you've been too busy to acknowledge. It's in these hours that you can finally confront the things that matter most to you. Your inner voice knows what you need, even when you're unsure. It knows what's best for you, even when the path ahead seems uncertain. Listening to your inner voice means trusting yourself. It's about having faith in the fact that deep down you know what you need to do. This doesn't mean you'll have all the answers right away, but it means acknowledging that the answers are within you. They've always been there. You just need to create the space to hear them. That's why when you wake up at this time, you should resist the urge to roll over and go back to sleep. Instead, sit with yourself. Embrace the quiet. Listen. Your inner voice will guide you to the areas of your life that need attention. It will point out the habits, the people, and the thoughts that are holding you back. It will encourage you to make changes, to take risks, to follow your passion. But it won't force you to act. It simply offers you the insight you need to move forward. It's up to you to decide whether or not you'll listen and take action. But the first step, the most important step, is hearing that voice. It's important to remember that this voice is patient. It's not in a rush. It doesn't demand immediate action. It knows that growth and change take time. But it's persistent. It will keep waking you up, keep nudging you, keep whispering to you in those early morning hours until you finally listen. And when you do, you'll realize that this voice has been with you all along, waiting for the moment when you're ready to hear it, to trust it, and to follow its guidance. Listening to your inner voice is about reconnecting with yourself. It's about rediscovering the parts of you that you've buried under the weight of responsibilities, expectations, and fear. When you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., it's a signal that it's time to come back to yourself, to listen, to reflect, and to honor the path that's calling you. This is your moment of clarity, your moment of truth. So when that voice speaks to you, don't ignore it. Listen. When you wake up in those quiet hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., there's a reason your mind turns inward. This is the time when reflection becomes inevitable. In the stillness with the world asleep, you have no distractions, no noise to drown out your thoughts, no responsibilities pulling you in different directions. You're left with one thing: the path you've walked. Reflecting on your journey isn't about judgment, but about understanding where you've been and where you are. It's about looking back at the steps you've taken to get to this moment and acknowledging the choices, both big and small, that have shaped your life. Your journey is unique. Every decision you've made, every obstacle you faced has led you to this point. But have you truly taken the time to reflect on it? Often we're so focused on moving forward on what's next that we forget to pause and look back. We forget to consider how far we've come and what we've learned along the way. But those early morning hours give you the perfect opportunity to do just that. When the world is quiet, it's easier to sit with yourself and reflect, to examine the twists and turns of your life with honesty. As you reflect on your journey, you start to see patterns. Maybe you notice how certain decisions led to growth, while others pulled you off course. Maybe you realize that the obstacles you thought were holding you back were actually pushing you towards something better. This reflection isn't about regret. It's about gaining insight. It's about recognizing the lessons hidden in your experiences, lessons that you might have missed in the chaos of everyday life. In this stillness, you have the chance to look at those experiences with fresh eyes and understand their deeper meaning. Reflection helps you see yourself more clearly. It forces you to confront the moments when you were at your best and the times when you fell short. It shines a light on the areas where you've grown and the places where you still have work to do. This isn't always easy. Sometimes reflecting on your journey means facing uncomfortable truths about the mistakes you've made, the opportunities you've missed, or the people you've hurt along the way. But it's through this honest self-reflection that real growth happens. When you reflect on your journey, you also start to see the things you've been carrying with you, often without realizing it. Emotional baggage, old wounds, unresolved conflicts, they're all there, shaping the way you move through life. The quiet hours of the morning offer you a chance to unpack those things, to really look at them, and decide whether they're still serving you. Some of the burdens you carry have long since outlived their purpose. Yet, without reflection, you continue to drag them along, weighing yourself down without even knowing it. Reflection allows you to make sense of the struggles you faced. Life is rarely a straight path, and your journey has likely had its share of detours, roadblocks, and setbacks. But in the calm of the early morning, you can look back at those challenges and understand them from a new perspective. You can start to see how those difficult moments shaped you, how they taught you resilience, patience, and strength. You begin to realize that even the hardest parts of your journey have value. They've contributed to the person you've become. It's easy to get caught up in the idea that your journey is about reaching a destination, about ticking off milestones, achieving goals, and moving on to the next thing. But reflection reminds you that the journey itself is what matters. It's in the day-to-day struggles and triumphs, in the moments of doubt and clarity, that life really happens. The quiet hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. give you the space to appreciate the journey for what it is, not just a means to an end, but an ongoing process of growth and discovery. As you reflect on your journey, you may also start to recognize the role of others in shaping your path. Who has walked with you along the way? Who has lifted you when you stumbled? And who has challenged you to be better? Reflection isn't just about your personal choices, it's about acknowledging the people who have influenced you for better or worse. It's about understanding how relationships have shaped your decisions, your mindset, and your direction. In this quiet time, you can appreciate those connections more deeply and perhaps even gain clarity on the ones you need to nurture or let go. Reflection is not a one-time event, it's a practice. Each time you look back on your journey, you uncover something new. Maybe you see a past experience in a different light, or you notice a pattern in your behavior that you hadn't seen before. Each time you peel back another layer of understanding. The quiet hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. are a gift, a chance to engage in that practice without the distractions of the day. They give you the space to sit with your thoughts, to process your experiences, and to gain new insights that will guide you moving forward. In reflecting on your journey, you begin to reconnect with yourself. You start to see where you strayed from your true self and where you've stayed true to your values. Reflection brings you back to your center, to the core of who you are. It reminds you of your strengths, your passions, and your purpose. It's not about dwelling in the past, but about understanding it so that you can move forward with more clarity, more intention, and more alignment with who you really are. In the early hours between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., there's a unique stillness that fills the air, a quiet that invites you to go deeper within yourself. This is the perfect time to connect through prayer or meditation, to align yourself with something greater, something beyond the noise and chaos of everyday life. In these moments, when the world is sleeping, you have an opportunity to step into a space of connection that transcends the surface-level concerns that normally consume your mind. This connection isn't just about asking for something or finding peace, it's about tuning into a source of guidance, strength, and clarity. Prayer or meditation isn't just an action, it's a state of being. It's the process of turning inward, away from the distractions of the external world, and quieting your mind so you can hear that still, small voice inside. When you pray or meditate during these early hours, you're entering a sacred space where you can be fully present with yourself and the energy that surrounds you. Whether you call it God, the universe, or simply your inner wisdom, there is a power that becomes more accessible when the world is quiet and your spirit is open. In prayer, you're having a conversation not just with a higher power, but with yourself. It's an opportunity to express gratitude for the blessings you've received, to seek guidance on the challenges you face, and to ask for the strength to walk the path ahead. But prayer is also about listening, about quieting your own thoughts long enough to hear the answers that come not in words, but in feelings, in intuition, in a deep knowing that wells up from within. In those still moments, prayer becomes less about the words you say and more about the connection you feel. Meditation, on the other hand, is often about letting go of thoughts altogether. It's about sitting in stillness, observing the mind without attaching to the constant stream of thoughts that flow through it. Meditation allows you to quiet the mental chatter and tap into a state of pure awareness. In those early morning hours, when the world is at its most quiet, meditation gives you the chance to connect with the deeper layers of your consciousness, the parts of you that aren't concerned with the trivial worries of the day, but are aligned with your higher purpose. Both prayer and meditation create space for introspection. In prayer, you might reflect on the areas of your life where you need support, where you're seeking answers. In meditation, you might observe the thoughts and emotions that arise without judgment, simply noticing where your mind tends to go when it's unencumbered by the noise of daily life. This process of introspection helps you get in touch with your true desires, your fears, and the deeper parts of yourself that you often overlook. It's in this space that real connection happens, connection with your spirit, with your higher self, and with the divine. There's a sense of grounding that comes with this connection. Prayer or meditation in the early morning allows you to feel rooted in something solid, something unshakable. No matter what's happening in your external world, this connection gives you a foundation to stand on. It reminds you that you're not alone in your journey, that there's a force greater than you working behind the scenes, guiding you toward your purpose. When you connect in this way, you're reminded that you're part of something bigger, that your life has meaning and direction beyond what you can see in the moment. Connecting through prayer or meditation also brings a sense of clarity. When the distractions are gone and your mind is still, answers have a way of rising to the surface. You might not get the answers in the form of direct words or immediate solutions, but there's a shift in your perspective, a quiet understanding that begins to take shape. You see your problems differently. You recognize the lessons in your struggles. You understand the steps you need to take moving forward, even if they're small or uncertain. This clarity is a gift that comes only when you're willing to sit in the stillness and connect. One of the most powerful aspects of prayer or meditation is the way it brings you back to the present moment. In your day-to-day life, it's easy to get caught up in the past or the future, worrying about what's already happened or stressing over what's yet to come. But in the quiet of early morning, when you're connecting through prayer or meditation, you're reminded that the only moment that truly exists is right now. You can't change the past, and the future hasn't arrived yet. All you have is this moment, and in this moment, you have everything you need. There's a deep sense of peace that comes from this realization. When you're connected to the present moment through prayer or meditation, the worries and anxieties of the day fade into the background. You're no longer caught in the web of thoughts that pull you in 100 different directions. Instead, you're grounded in the here and now, in the breath you're taking, in the heartbeat you feel. This peace is the foundation from which you can face the challenges of the day with calmness and strength, knowing that you're supported by something greater. Connecting through prayer or meditation during these early hours fosters a sense of alignment. It brings your mind, body, and spirit into harmony. You're no longer operating from a place of scattered energy or disconnection. Instead, you're moving with purpose, with clarity, with intention. This alignment doesn't just affect your inner world, it influences everything you do throughout the day. The decisions you make, the way you interact with others, the energy you bring to your work, all of it is infused with the peace, strength, and guidance you've cultivated through your early morning connection. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. offers more than just a break in sleep. It's a call to prepare for your next step. This isn't just about planning for the future in the traditional sense, but rather aligning yourself with the deeper purpose of what lies ahead. It's in these early morning hours when the world is quiet that you can clearly focus on what's next in your journey. This is a time of preparation, a time to reflect not only on what you want, but on what needs to be done to get there. Every next step requires intention, and waking up at this hour signals a readiness to step into what's coming. Preparation begins with clarity. You need to know where you're headed before you can take any meaningful steps forward. Waking up in the stillness of the morning gives you the perfect opportunity to think deeply about your goals and desires. What are you truly working toward? What dreams have been whispering in the back of your mind, waiting for your attention? Use this time to gain that clarity. Without it, any actions you take will lack direction, and you'll find yourself wandering rather than moving with purpose. Once you have clarity, the next step is to set intentions. These aren't just goals, they're commitments to yourself. In the quiet of the early morning, when distractions are minimal, you can create space to decide what you're committed to in your life. Are you committed to personal growth? To a career goal? To strengthening your relationships? Whatever it is, set your intentions clearly and firmly. This is the time to make promises to yourself, to say, this is what I'm going to work toward, no matter what. Setting intentions is an essential part of preparation, because it gives you something concrete to aim for. But preparation also means acknowledging the obstacles. The path forward is rarely smooth, and part of getting ready for the next step involves recognizing what could stand in your way. In those early morning hours when your mind is clear, you can think about the potential challenges ahead. What fears might hold you back? What habits or patterns could sabotage your progress? Preparing for your next step means being honest with yourself about the hurdles you may face, so you can approach them with a plan and the resilience needed to overcome them. Preparation is not just mental, it's also practical. This is the time to make a concrete plan for your next move. What actions need to be taken? Who do you need to connect with? What resources do you need to gather? The early morning hours are perfect for organizing your thoughts and creating an actionable list of steps. Preparing for your next step means breaking down your big goals into smaller, manageable tasks. Each task brings you closer to your destination, and when you wake up early, you have the space to map it all out clearly. One of the most overlooked aspects of preparation is emotional readiness. Sometimes you may know what you need to do next, but emotionally you're not there yet. Maybe fear is holding you back, or maybe self-doubt is creeping in. In the quiet of the early morning, you have the opportunity to address these emotions head-on. This is the time to ask yourself, am I emotionally prepared to take this next step? If not, what do you need to do to get there? Whether it's practicing self-compassion, building your confidence, or releasing old fears, this quiet time allows you to focus on the emotional preparation that's often overlooked. Your next step may also require spiritual preparation. This involves connecting with your inner self and the higher power you believe in to ensure that the path you're on is aligned with your greater purpose. During those quiet hours, you can take the time to meditate, pray, or simply sit in stillness to reflect on whether your next move is in harmony with your spiritual beliefs and values. Spiritual preparation helps you move forward with peace of mind, knowing that you're not just chasing external success, but also honoring your inner calling. In addition to spiritual preparation, there's also physical preparation to consider. The next step in your journey may require stamina, energy, and focus. These early morning hours give you the opportunity to think about your physical well-being. Are you taking care of your body so that it can support your goals? Are you getting enough rest, eating well, and staying active? Physical preparation is just as important as mental and emotional preparation, because without the strength and vitality to move forward, your efforts will fall short. Use this time to assess your physical readiness and make the necessary adjustments. Another crucial part of preparation is building the right environment around you. Sometimes the next step requires changes not just within you, but in the people, places, and circumstances around you. Who is in your circle? Are they supportive of your growth, or are they holding you back? What about your work or home environment? Does it inspire productivity and focus, or is it filled with distractions and negativity? Preparing for your next step involves curating an environment that nurtures your goals. During these early hours, reflect on what adjustments you need to make in your surroundings to support your journey forward. Preparation is about patience. It's important to remember that preparation takes time, and not every next step can or should be rushed. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. gives you the space to be patient with yourself and the process. This is a time to sit with your thoughts, to plan without pressure, and to prepare without the urgency that often drives our decisions. Patience is a key part of the preparation because it allows you to move forward when the time is right, not just when you feel rushed by external forces. Take the time to fully prepare so that when you do take that next step, you do so with confidence and clarity. Taking action is where all the preparation, reflection, and planning come together. You can spend countless hours thinking about what you want, visualizing your goals, setting intentions, and preparing yourself mentally and emotionally. But none of that matters unless you take action. Action is the catalyst that turns dreams into reality. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is a sign that the time for thinking has passed. It's time to move. The stillness of the early morning is the perfect backdrop for decisive action. When distractions are minimal and your mind is clear, this is the time to stop waiting for the perfect moment and create it by taking that first step. Taking action requires courage. It's easy to get stuck in analysis, questioning every decision, wondering if you're ready or if the timing is right. But action demands that you move forward despite uncertainty, despite fear. In fact, fear is often the biggest barrier to action. You might fear failure, rejection, or even success. But in the quiet of the morning, you have the chance to confront those fears and push through them. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the willingness to act in spite of it. Each step you take toward your goal, no matter how small, is an act of courage. Action is about momentum. The first step is always the hardest, but once you take it, the next step becomes a little easier. This is the power of momentum. By taking action, you set a chain of events in motion. One action leads to another, and soon enough, you find yourself moving steadily toward your goal. Waking up in the early hours is a reminder that this is your moment to build that momentum. Don't wait for motivation to strike or for circumstances to line up perfectly. Take action now, and let the momentum carry you forward. Procrastination is the enemy of action. It's easy to fall into the trap of telling yourself you'll act tomorrow, next week, or when you feel more ready. But tomorrow never comes. Action must be taken in the present moment, and the early morning hours are the best time to overcome procrastination. There are no distractions, no excuses. You have a clean slate, and you can use this time to make significant progress. Recognize that procrastination is often rooted in fear or perfectionism, and the best way to combat it is to take action, even if that action feels small or imperfect. Taking action doesn't always have to mean making big moves. Sometimes the most important actions are the small, consistent steps you take each day. These micro actions, though they may seem insignificant in the moment, compound over time and lead to massive results. When you wake up early, you have the time and space to focus on these small actions, whether it's sending an important email, making a decision you've been putting off, or taking 15 minutes to work on a project. These small actions add up, and over time, they become the foundation of your success. Action also requires adaptability. Things don't always go as planned, and that's okay. When you take action, you may face unexpected obstacles or find that your initial approach needs adjusting. This is part of the process. The key is to remain flexible and open to change. When you wake up early and take action, you give yourself the advantage of time. You can course correct, try new approaches, and pivot when necessary. Adaptability is a critical component of success because it allows you to keep moving forward even when the path ahead isn't clear. Consistency is another vital aspect of taking action. It's not enough to act once and expect results. The people who achieve their goals are the ones who show up day after day, even when it's hard, even when they don't feel like it. Waking up early provides the perfect opportunity to build this consistency. Every morning, you have a fresh chance to take action, to move the needle just a little bit closer to your goal. Consistency compounds over time, and it's often the people who are willing to do the work day in and day out who ultimately succeed. Action breeds confidence. When you take action, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of making progress, capable of handling challenges, and capable of achieving your goals. Each step you take builds your confidence, reinforcing the belief that you have what it takes to succeed. This is why it's so important to take action, even when you're unsure. Confidence doesn't come from thinking about what you want to do, it comes from doing it. In the quiet of the morning, when you're free from external pressures, you can focus on taking action that builds your confidence and moves you closer to where you want to be. Taking action also opens the door to opportunity. Often the opportunities you're looking for don't appear until you start moving. When you take action, you're putting yourself in a position to attract new possibilities, people, resources, and circumstances that you never would have encountered if you had stayed stuck in inaction. The early morning hours are a time when the world is still, but your potential is active. By taking action during this time, you create opportunities for growth and success that would otherwise remain out of reach. Taking action is a form of self-empowerment. It's a declaration that you're in control of your life, that you're not waiting for someone else to hand you the keys to your future. When you wake up early and take deliberate steps toward your goals, you're taking responsibility for your own success. This is empowering because it reminds you that no matter what external challenges you face, you have the ability to take action and move forward. In the stillness of the early morning, you can tap into this power and use it to create the life you desire. In every moment, there lies an opportunity for growth, though it's not always obvious or easy to recognize. Growth often comes disguised as challenge, discomfort, or change, and it requires a shift in perspective to see it for what it truly is. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is one of those moments when the stillness of the world invites you to look at life differently. It's in these quiet hours, when the distractions of the day have yet to begin, that you can recognize the opportunities for growth that have been present all along. This time gives you the space to reflect, to see beyond the surface, and to understand how every experience, no matter how difficult, can be a stepping stone toward your personal evolution. Growth often begins with discomfort. The situations that push you out of your comfort zone are the ones that challenge you to stretch beyond your current limits. Waking up unexpectedly in the early hours may feel disruptive or inconvenient, but it's also an invitation to embrace the unknown. It's in these moments of discomfort that growth happens. When you resist the urge to fall back into familiar patterns and instead lean into the unease, you open yourself up to new possibilities. Recognizing the opportunity for growth requires you to be comfortable with discomfort, knowing that it's a necessary part of the journey. Every obstacle you face is an opportunity in disguise. It's easy to see challenges as roadblocks, as things that stand in the way of your progress. But when you shift your mindset, you begin to understand that every challenge is actually a chance to grow. The early morning hours, when your mind is clear, are the perfect time to reflect on the obstacles you're currently facing. Instead of viewing them as things to avoid, you can ask yourself, what is this teaching me? How can I grow from this? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means seeing challenges as stepping stones, not as barriers. Growth is not always about achieving external success. Sometimes it's about the internal shifts that happen along the way. The person you become as you move through life's challenges is just as important as the goals you achieve. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. gives you the space to reflect on these internal transformations. How have you grown emotionally, mentally, or spiritually in recent times? What lessons have shaped the person you are today? Recognizing these subtle forms of growth is crucial because they often provide the foundation for the bigger changes yet to come. The opportunity for growth also exists in the way you respond to situations. You may not always have control over what happens to you, but you do have control over how you react. Waking up early gives you the chance to reflect on your responses to the events of your life. Are you reacting out of fear, anger, or frustration? Or are you approaching situations with patience, resilience, and a growth mindset? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means understanding that your responses shape your reality. By choosing to respond with intention, you take control of your growth process. Another key aspect of recognizing growth opportunities is being open to change. Growth cannot happen without change, and often that change requires you to let go of old habits, beliefs, or ways of thinking. The early morning hours provide a time of reflection when you can assess what no longer serves you. What beliefs are holding you back? What habits are keeping you stuck? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means being willing to release the old and embrace the new, even if it feels uncomfortable at first. It's also important to recognize that growth doesn't happen overnight. It's a gradual process that requires patience and persistence. Waking up in the early hours can be a reminder that growth takes time, and that every small step you take adds up over time. Whether it's a daily habit you're building, a mindset shift you're working on, or a long-term goal you're pursuing, recognizing the opportunity for growth means understanding that progress is often slow and steady. The key is to keep moving forward, even when the results aren't immediately visible. Another aspect of recognizing growth opportunities is learning from failure. Failure is often seen as something to avoid, but in reality, it's one of the greatest teachers. When you wake up early, you have the quiet and space to reflect on your past failures. Instead of beating yourself up over them, you can ask, what did I learn from this? How can I use this experience to grow? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means seeing failure not as the end of the road, but as a necessary part of the journey. It's through failure that you gain the wisdom and resilience needed to succeed in the future. Growth also comes from self-awareness. The more you understand yourself, your strengths, your weaknesses, your patterns, the better equipped you are to grow. Waking up early provides the perfect opportunity for self-reflection. In the stillness of the morning, you can take the time to check in with yourself. How are you feeling? What areas of your life need more attention? Where are you excelling? And where do you need to make changes? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means being honest with yourself and using that self-awareness as a tool for personal development. Recognizing the opportunity for growth involves gratitude. When you approach life with gratitude, you begin to see even the challenges and hardships as opportunities for growth. Waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. allows you to cultivate this mindset of gratitude. Instead of focusing on what's going wrong, you can shift your attention to what's going right. What lessons have you learned from your struggles? What growth opportunities have emerged from difficult situations? Recognizing the opportunity for growth means being thankful for every experience, knowing that each one is helping you become the person you're meant to be.